Today we're talking about a topic most people think they understand, yet very few ever see clearly. How women behave around men they genuinely find attractive. Not the behavior they show on social media, not the polished version they let the world see. This is about the real subtle psychological shifts that happen when a woman is drawn to a man on a deeper, instinctive level. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we go further, I want to say something controversial. Women rarely express attraction the way men expect. Men often look for loud signals, flirting, obvious compliments, bold approaches. But attraction in women is usually quieter, more psychological, and many men miss these clues completely. I say this not from theory, but from years of sitting across from women in therapy rooms, listening to their fears, desires, and unfiltered thoughts. I've heard stories from women who were terrified of showing interest, worried about rejection, or afraid they would seem too eager. I've watched confident, accomplished women lose every ounce of composure simply because a man made them feel something real. And although I can't share identities, confidentiality matters. I can share what I've seen time and time again. When a woman truly finds a man attractive, her behavior changes in ways she often can't control. Some start avoiding eye contact because the feeling overwhelms them. Others suddenly become more talkative. Some get shy, some get bold, and often the signals seem contradictory. And that's where men get confused. This video isn't about stereotypes. It's not about attacking anyone or turning relationships into a game. It's about helping men understand the emotional and psychological signs of female attraction so they stop misreading situations and feeling lost. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden signs most men overlook and why the psychology behind them matters. 1. She gets nervous. She gets nervous around you. When a woman truly finds a man attractive, the first sign is often the one most men overlook. She becomes nervous, not because she's intimidated by you as a person, but because attraction activates something deeper than logic. In therapy, I've listened to countless women explain how their hands shook when they tried to text a man they liked, or how they rehearsed what they were going to say before talking to him, and still stumbled over their words when the moment came. These weren't shy women. Some were leaders, executives, or outspoken personalities in every other area of life. But attraction has a way of pulling down the walls people usually rely on to feel composed. A woman who finds you attractive might talk faster, laugh at the wrong time, or suddenly forget how to form a normal sentence. On the surface, it can look like disinterest or awkwardness. But if you knew what her mind was doing, you'd see something very different. She's thinking about whether she said too much, whether she looks okay, whether she's being obvious, whether you noticed her nerves, whether she should have walked away sooner. I've watched women analyze every second of a simple interaction with a man they liked. Sometimes for days, other times the nervousness comes out differently. Some women avoid eye contact completely because looking at you makes their feelings too real. Some won't speak much at all because they worry they might say something that exposes their attraction. And then there are the women who overcompensate and act like they aren't affected, trying so hard to seem relaxed that they come across distant or uninterested. The truth is, every version of this reaction comes from the same place. She cares what you think. Men often assume attraction looks confident and bold, but for many women, attraction looks like overthinking, second-guessing, and fighting to stay calm. I once had a client explain that she could easily sit across a boardroom table making decisions worth millions. Yet she could barely speak to the man she liked at the gym, not because she lacked confidence, but because he represented something that mattered to her emotionally, not just intellectually. When a woman is nervous around you, it is rarely a sign of weakness. It's a sign that something about you affects her. Something about you makes her want to be seen in a good light. Something about you makes her feel vulnerable, and vulnerability is one of the strongest indicators of real attraction. Sometimes the quietest reaction reveals the deepest interest. Her attention suddenly sharpens. 2. Her attention suddenly sharpens. When a woman finds a man attractive, her attention changes in a way most men don't notice. Men often expect attraction to look loud, flirting, compliments, or direct interest, but many women show attraction by paying attention more closely than they normally would. It's subtle but powerful. In therapy, I've had women admit something they almost never say out loud. When I like someone, I notice everything he does. Not because they're obsessing, but because attraction heightens awareness. A woman might notice the way you smile, how you speak to others, whether you're confident or unsure, how you treat strangers, even how you hold eye contact. She studies these small details to understand you long before she ever decides whether to show her feelings. Men often assume women only pay attention when they speak directly to them. But in reality, a woman who is attracted might hear conversations you didn't even realize she was close enough to catch. She might remember something small you said weeks ago. She might recall the exact day you wore a certain jacket or that you prefer your coffee without sugar. These small details aren't accidents, they're signals of emotional interest. I've seen women in therapy describe how they insisted they were not that into him. Yet they remembered everything: his opinions, his habits, his routines. And if a woman remembers something you said in passing, your favorite food, your goals, something that matters to you, that's not friendliness. That's emotional curiosity. Another sign is how quickly she reacts to you. If you speak in a group, she turns her head before others do. If you enter a room, she notices faster than everyone else. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just 1 second faster, but that second reveals what her mind prioritizes. Some men mistake this for coincidence. It's not. Attention is energy. People do not waste energy on someone they don't care about. And there's another side men should understand. When a woman pays attention to you, she is also watching how you behave with other women. If you flirt easily, she may pull back. If you treat everyone kindly, it reassures her. If you speak disrespectfully, she notices that too. Attraction does not blind women. It makes them observe more sharply. Many women have told me they paid attention to a man's emotional stability before they ever considered making a move. They asked themselves silent questions. Does he lose his temper easily? Does he talk badly about others? Is he confident without being arrogant? Is he the same person in private as he is in public? So the next time you wonder whether a woman might be attracted to you, ask yourself, does she notice things most people overlook? Does she pay attention even when she doesn't have to? Because a woman's attention is rarely accidental. It is one of the most honest signs of attraction a man will ever get if he knows how to see it. She mirrors your energy. 3. She mirrors your energy. One of the most fascinating psychological signs of attraction is something most men have never been taught to notice: mirroring. When a woman finds a man attractive, her behavior often begins to match his without her even realizing it. It's not something she plans. It's a natural human response to connection. In therapy, I've had many women describe how they started picking up a man's phrases, laughing like him, or adopting tiny pieces of his personality. They didn't do it intentionally. It happened because something in him made them feel safe, comfortable, or drawn in. If you've ever noticed a woman begin to talk like you, walk next to you in the same rhythm, or relax when you relax, that's not random. That's attraction working quietly. Mirroring can appear in small ways. If you lean forward, she might lean forward. If you speak softly, her voice softens. If you're excited about something, her energy rises to match yours. Women don't mirror men they don't care about. When a man makes no impression, a woman stays herself untouched and unchanged. But when he affects her, her body and mind respond. And here's the part many men never consider. Women mirror to build connection. They want the man they're attracted to feel comfortable, welcomed, and understood. Many of the women I've spoken to in therapy said things like, "I don't know why, but I found myself acting like him because it just felt natural." Mirroring is the brain's way of saying, "I feel close to you. I want to match you." Some men notice this and assume it's coincidence. Others miss it completely. Yet mirroring reveals a level of emotional investment that is hard to fake. Even if she keeps her words guarded, her body will tell the truth. But mirroring isn't just physical. It shows up in conversation too. She starts using your expressions, repeating jokes, or remembering your beliefs. She might adopt your interests, not to impress you, but because she wants to share a world with you. I've seen women pick up hobbies they never cared about, simply because a man they liked cared. They became curious about his music, his goals, his views of the world. Men often complain that women are confusing. But the body is not confusing. The body doesn't lie. If she mirrors your posture, your tone, your tempo, or your energy, she's connected to you. Whether she admits it or not, her attraction is showing. Mirroring is not dramatic. It's subtle. You won't see it if you look for extremes. But the small matches, her smile when you smile, her calm when you calm, her excitement when you're excited means something real. Women don't mirror men they're indifferent to. They mirror the men who make their heart react. Pay attention to those small behaviors. Sometimes the quietest signs speak the loudest. 4. She finds small reasons to be near you. She finds small reasons to be near you. When a woman is attracted to a man, she often creates small opportunities to be close to him. Not big, dramatic gestures, just little moments that look innocent on the surface. Most men miss these signs because they expect something obvious, but attraction is rarely obvious. It's subtle, thoughtful, and intentional. I remember working with a woman in a healthy, long-term relationship. She loved her partner deeply, but the beginning of their story was what stood out. She admitted that before they were together, she made excuses to be near him, not because she was desperate for attention, but because being around him made her feel something she wasn't ready to say out loud. She offered to help with things he didn't really need help with. She lingered a little longer in places she normally rushed through. She suddenly showed up to events she never cared about before. Looking back, she laughed at how obvious it was, but at the time she thought she was hiding it perfectly. That's what many women do. They put themselves in your space because distance feels uncomfortable. When a woman finds you attractive, she doesn't wait for fate. She creates proximity. Maybe she chooses the seat next to you instead of across the room. Maybe she walks your direction, even if it's slightly out of her way. Maybe she's always nearby during group conversations, close enough to hear you, close enough for you to notice her. She might ask for help with something she could easily do alone, simply because it feels like a safe reason to talk to you without exposing her feelings. These moments aren't accidents, they're openings. A woman doesn't go out of her way for a man she doesn't care about. She doesn't rearrange her day. She doesn't pretend to need something just to talk. Attraction makes her brave in small ways. I've spoken to women who said, "I didn't know how to tell him I liked him, so I just tried to be around him. I hoped he'd feel it." And the interesting part is being near the man wasn't about control or chasing. It was about comfort. Women want to feel connected, and physical presence builds that connection without words, without pressure. Of course, not every woman is obvious about it. Some are subtle. Maybe she just happened to be at the same coffee shop, or she randomly chose the treadmill beside yours. Sometimes the reason is real. Sometimes it's just an excuse to feel close to you for a moment. Here's the lesson. When a woman consistently finds small reasons to be near you, something deeper is happening. She is trying to build familiarity. She is hoping you'll notice her without having to make the first move. She may not say she's interested, but her closeness says it for her. Proximity is never an accident when feelings are involved. 5. Her guard comes down slowly. Her guard comes down slowly. When a woman is attracted to a man, one of the strongest signs isn't how excited she is around him. It's how slowly she lets her guard down. Attraction makes many women cautious, not because they aren't interested, but because connection makes them vulnerable. And vulnerability can feel dangerous if they've been hurt before. In therapy, I've heard many women admit something men rarely realize. I liked him, but I didn't trust my feelings yet. I needed to know he was safe. That's why some women seem distant at first, even if they're attracted. They don't want to fall for someone who might take advantage of them, misunderstand them, or disappear the moment they open up. But here's where many men go wrong. When she isn't immediately open, affectionate, or expressive, a lot of men assume one of three things. She's not interested. She's playing games. She's stuck up or cold. Most of the time, none of that is true. Many women are not guarded because they lack interest. They're guarded because they want to protect themselves emotionally. Some have been lied to, led on, used, or disappointed by men who seemed good at first, but changed the moment they felt secure. Others simply want to take their time and see if your actions match your words. When a woman slowly lets you into her world, that's not a delay. It's a sign of respect for her own heart. So what should a man say or do when he senses her guard? First, don't pressure her to open up. Statements like, "Why don't you trust me? You're too difficult." Just relax and stop overthinking. These don't make her feel safe. They make her feel misunderstood. What works is patience wrapped in understanding. If she opens up about something small, respond with honesty and calm. If she shares something personal, don't judge it. If she seems nervous, reassure her without making her feel weak. You don't need dramatic speeches. Simple things go further than men think. "I like talking to you. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. I want to learn who you are, not rush you." These words carry weight because they show emotional maturity. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman slowly lowers her guard with you, it means she sees potential. If she didn't care, she wouldn't bother protecting herself. She'd keep you at a surface level and walk away without hesitation. So instead of getting frustrated with her caution, recognize what it means. She sees something in you worth opening up to. She wants to trust you. And trust built slowly is trust that lasts. When her guard comes down, it isn't weakness. It's one of the greatest signs of attraction and emotional investment a woman can show. 6. She remembers the little things. When a woman finds a man attractive, she pays attention to details that everyone else ignores. And what makes this sign so powerful is that she won't always announce it. She'll just remember. Most men think attraction is shown through big gestures, but for many women, it's the small, quiet acknowledgments that reveal the truth. I've worked with women who could barely remember where they left their keys. Yet, they remembered every small detail about the man they liked, his favorite snack, the song he mentioned once, the way he takes his coffee, or the dream he shared casually in conversation. They weren't trying to impress him. They were emotionally invested. Attraction sharpens memory. If you told her months ago that you were working toward a personal goal, she'll bring it up later and ask how it's going. If you mentioned your mother's birthday, she'll remember the date. If you casually said you hate onions, she'll never put them on your plate. None of this is accidental. A woman doesn't store information about a man she isn't drawn to. Her attention becomes selective. She retains what matters emotionally. What makes this even more interesting is how subtle it can be. She might say, "I remember you like that brand." Or, "Didn't you say you wanted to try this place?" She won't always frame it as something meaningful, but it is. Women remember what they care about, not what they are simply told. This is where men should pay attention. When a woman remembers small things about you, she is signaling emotional curiosity. She doesn't just like the idea of you. She's paying attention to who you really are. And there's another layer. Many women observe quietly before they show interest directly. They want to see if you're consistent over time, if you are who you say you are, and if your behavior matches your words. When she remembers what you say, she is forming a picture of you. She's not guessing. She's studying. In therapy sessions, I've heard women admit that they fell for men long before the men ever realized. They listened, learned, and noticed the details before they ever expressed their feelings. One woman said, "He thought I didn't care, but I remembered every word he said." That's how silent attraction can be. For men, this is where awareness matters. If she remembers the details you never expected her to notice, she sees you as more than just another person in her day. She has stored you somewhere in her mind that's meaningful. And the best part, you don't need to impress her with money, looks, or loud gestures. Women fall for men who make them feel seen, heard, and comfortable. When she remembers your world, it's because she wants a place in it. A man can overlook 1,000 clues if he only looks for obvious signs. But the little things, a remembered joke, a noticed change, a question about something you mentioned once, those speak volumes. Women don't invest memory into men who don't matter to them. When she remembers the small things, she is telling you everything. 7. She shows jealousy without admitting it. Jealousy without admitting it. When a woman finds a man attractive, jealousy often appears in the softest, quietest ways. Not loud arguments, not dramatic scenes, just subtle shifts that reveal she cares more than she wants to say. Many women will never admit jealousy directly. Some are afraid of looking insecure. Some don't want to give away their feelings. Others don't even realize their reactions are rooted in attraction, but the signs are almost always there. In many therapy sessions, I've listened to women describe moments they didn't understand at the time. They would see the man they liked talking to another woman and suddenly feel irritated, distant, or unusually quiet. They didn't want to cause problems. They didn't want to expose their emotions. They just felt something tighten inside, something they couldn't control. That's jealousy, silent, personal, and emotional. Sometimes she'll suddenly lose her enthusiasm when another woman enters the picture. Sometimes she'll ask harmless-sounding questions. Who is she? Are you close with her? How do you know her? She'll say it casually, but she is paying attention to every word you answer with. She may compare herself to the other woman without ever admitting she's doing it. Different style, different personality, different energy. Attraction makes her sensitive to competition, but the reaction isn't always negative. Sometimes jealousy appears as effort. She might dress differently when she knows she'll see you. She may sit closer, laugh more, or become more engaged in conversation, not to compete, but to remind you she's there. Some women become playful, others become distant. Every personality expresses jealousy differently. Men often misread this. They assume she doesn't care because she stays quiet, or that she's cold because she pulls back. But many women withdraw when they feel threatened. Instead of fighting for attention, they protect their feelings. One woman once told me, "If I see him getting close to someone else, I just disappear. If he cares, he'll come find me." Not because she wanted to play games, but because she didn't want to get hurt. The key thing men should understand is this. Jealousy is not always a sign of insecurity. Sometimes it's a sign of emotional investment. A woman who doesn't care where you give your attention isn't interested, but a woman who subtly reacts, even if she tries to hide it, is showing that you matter. You don't need to confront her, tease her, or make her more jealous. That only damages trust. If you want to handle it maturely, show her that she has nothing to compete with. Something as simple as including her in the conversation. Acknowledging her presence or showing consistent respect goes further than you think. When a woman shows quiet jealousy, it means your presence affects her. Your attention matters. And even if she never says the words out loud, her reactions reveal what her voice won't. Sometimes attraction speaks in silence, and jealousy is one of its loudest whispers. Conclusion. Women rarely express attraction in the obvious, dramatic ways men expect. It's usually quiet, emotional, and deeply psychological. The nervousness, the attention to detail, the mirroring, the subtle closeness, the guarded heart, the memories she holds on to, and even the gentle flashes of jealousy. These are signs of real interest, not games. When men learn to see these behaviors clearly, relationships stop feeling confusing. Attraction stops feeling like a mystery. Understanding female psychology doesn't just help men read signals. It helps them connect with women respectfully, confidently, and calmly. The truth is simple. Women show affection through emotion, not performance.